The Screaming Eagles of the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault have always answered our nation's call without question, possibly deploying more than any other unit in the U.S. Army. Whether in peacetime, conflict, or war, the soldiers of the 101st have always served valiantly, with pride, honor, and distinction. However, service often comes at a cost, and the heaviest single event evidence of that cost for the 101st occurred at 6:45 in the morning on December 12, 1985. Carrying 248 passengers and a crew of 8, Air Arrow Flight 1285 crashed shortly after takeoff from Gander International Airport, Gander, Newfoundland. All on board the aircraft perished, and the tragedy remains the deadliest aircraft crash in Canadian air history. The passengers were all U.S. soldiers. Most of them were members of the 101st Airborne Division's Task Force 3502nd, 3rd Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Brigade, but there were soldiers aboard from other 101st units as well. Altogether, the soldiers hailed from 42 different states, Guam and Puerto Rico. These men and women were returning to Fort Campbell after completing a 6-month deployment to the Sinai Peninsula on a peacekeeping mission. They were returning just in time for the Christmas holiday. At the time of the crash, families and friends of the returning soldiers were already assembling in Fraternalico Gym to welcome home their Screaming Eagles. The harsh news of the crash hit those in the crowded gym like a gut punch, as it did the entire installation, surrounding communities, and across the country. Nothing can adequately describe the horrific sense of tragic loss. News of the crash also stirred the heart of a 15-year-old Canadian girl, Janice Johnson, from Oakville, Ontario, who started a campaign to establish a living memorial to those lost. She wanted to donate her babysitting money, $20, to buy trees as a living memorial for the soldiers who died in her country. News of her idea spread globally, prompting world leaders and celebrities to commend and join her effort. At Fort Campbell, officials set aside a 4-acre plot for the memorial. On September 26, 1986, her dream became a reality as 256 Canadian sugar maple trees for the 248 lost soldiers and the 8 crew members were dedicated on Fort Campbell in a ceremony honoring their memory. From that time until today, families, friends, and soldiers have continued to visit this site, and annually on the anniversary of the tragedy, Fort Campbell has recognized its lost yet remembered brothers and sisters in arms in a Gander Memorial ceremony led by the strike soldiers of 2nd Brigade. At the 30th anniversary ceremony, Fort Campbell officials revealed to the families of the Gander fallen that the memorial site was in peril, at risk of being permanently lost, not by neglect, abuse, or operational requirements, but by growth and distress among the trees due to poor spacing. Trees were originally planted with spacing of 20 feet rather than the recommended 40 feet. Individual trees compete for space, light, and water. The root systems have become intertwined, making replacement or relocation impractical. These health challenges throughout the memorial place the trees at grave risk without action, putting the entire memorial at risk. Tree specialists warned that in as few as 5 years, the situation would reach critical status, estimating about 70% of the existing trees would have to be removed to meet the minimum spacing requirements. Having fewer than 256 trees in the Gander Memorial is not an option. More than anything, Fort Campbell wanted the memorial to remain true to its intent, to serve as a living memorial. In addressing this issue and the risks the memorial faces, the most viable option was to expand and move the existing site, which demanded buy-in by surviving family members, incorporating their opinions and ideas, making them both a partner and a part of the solution. Such an expansion also tied into a larger effort to establish a centralized memorial area on Fort Campbell anchored by the Gander Memorial. If you drive along Kentucky or Tennessee Avenue today, you'll see memorial sites for different units. With the expansion, the Gander Memorial becomes the center feature of Memorial Row. When the need for the move and expansion was initially explained, there was overwhelming support, as well as some questions. In accepting something had to be done to preserve the memorial, family members provided valuable, direct input to the project concept and plans, ensuring their opinions were heard and the expansion reflected a living memorial. Over the course of a year, periodic meetings between surviving family members, installation leadership, and the architectural firm selected to design and implement the project mapped the way ahead. Armed with input from the families and guidance from leadership, the architects laid out possibilities. They presented options and made edits and changes as suggested. With family knowledge and support, site preparation began with grading and leveling the new site. It was a total team effort. Fort Campbell leadership sited the new memorial to the north and west, transforming the memorial to a park-like setting, consisting of 13 acres to facilitate better growth for the trees, planted at 40-foot intervals, whereas the original site was 4 acres with trees spaced at 20 feet. 8 of the existing memorial trees from the original site have already been transplanted to the 2nd Brigade Unit Memorial Site within Memorial Row. A permanent display board will accompany the trees and explain their significance. The front entry of the new site will be on Tennessee Avenue next to the Brigadier General Don F. Pratt Memorial Museum and stretch west to Wickham Avenue. Widthwise, the new site will be across Screaming Eagle Boulevard from the original site and extend north from Normandy Boulevard to 29th Street. This expanse fully accommodates the 256 sugar maple trees with sufficient room to grow and mature without crowding. The space will also include a variety of pathways throughout the memorial trees. Shrubs, grass, flowering trees, and evergreen trees will provide a welcoming backdrop at the entry. 2 parking spaces at the Pratt Museum are being designated for Gold Star families as well. A new central display area will be home to the memorial ceremony and original monuments. 10 information panels regarding the memorial, its history, and meaning will flank the original Gander Memorial monuments as the display centerpiece. The original memorial display features 3 significant plaques that will be included in a newly constructed monument feature. The ceremony lawn will focus the view upon the new central display area, with the expanse of the memorial trees in the background and along the side of the space. A flat plaza space along the front of the memorial will feature the 502nd Infantry Regiment crest on the ground plane. The current memorial site is monitored by the 502nd Infantry Regiment of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division, and is maintained by the Fort Campbell Directorate of Public Works. They are the tip of the spear in keeping the Gander Memorial Site a living testament to those lost. That mission will continue as the transition to a new site takes place. And what will happen to the old site? The trees will be removed and made available to the families who wish to have them. Afterwards, the current plan is to maintain the area as an open green space. To our Gander families, your support and partnership is helping avert another potential great loss, that of our sacred living testament to the 256 lost souls on Gander Flight 1285, who must never be forgotten. Together, we will continue the original intent to have and maintain a living memorial so that families, friends, visitors, and soldiers can continue to honor the original Gander soldiers, their families, and their collective sacrifice.